Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we want to present our first assignment for ITT 450 Information and Network Security about web application attack. Now I want to introduce my team. First, Ali Hassan bin Nordin will explain about XML injection. Second, myself, Muhammad Nazwan Maisa, about SQL injection. Lastly, Ikmal bin Johari about cross-site scripting. Next, Mr. Ali will continue.
Okay, first I will present on the SML injection to the web application. Now we look at SML definition. SSE injection attacks exploit support for SML external entities, and I use again web application that process SML input. Attackers can supply SML file with specially crafted dot type in definition to perform attacks, including denial of service, server-side request forgery, which is SSRF, or even remote code execution. That's how SML injection works to web application. SML injection are also a subcategory of injection attacks in general. Bad guy, which is hacker, use injection attacks to exploit weakness in your application and front-end services that allow them to deploy malicious payload and gain access to your sensitive store data. After that, SML injection enable unvalidated user data to construct queries that allow an attacker to read or modify SML document or execute command in your SML enabled database. This enables an attackers to get around your application front end to gain access to the juicy store data they seek by taking advantage of vulnerabilities that exist in input field. Now imagine an attacker wants to read the content of your organization store data file. They will try to enter improperly formatted queries on your web application front end with the hopes that the unvalidated input will trick the system into passing the message on to your web server. Now, how we can prevent SML injection to web application? SML external entities attacks rely on legacy support for document type definition, which are the oldest type of document definition dating back to HTML. This means that disabling DTD support is the best way of eliminating SSE vulnerabilities. If that's not possible, you can disable just the external entity support through PHP. For example, this is done by setting using library SML underscore disable underscore the entities underscore loader and put it as true. Okay. Now I passing to my team member Nazwan to explain on SQL injection to the web application.
Okay, now I want to present about SQL injection. Okay, the SQL injection definition. SQL injection, also known as a SQLI, is a common attack vector that uses malicious SQL code for back-end database manipulation to access information that was not intended to be displayed. This information may include any number of items, including sensitive company data, user list, or private customer detail. Okay, how SQL injection work? In SQL injection, this process is to perform unauthorized function. To use a simple example, the attacker could make use of a query process outlined above by using another SQL command to override the query's logic. The standard SQL query is designed to log into an account once it finds one in the database that matches a specific set of input. Therefore, if the attacker is able to amend the query so that it add the condition like or 1 equal to 1, uh, with the condition, I can show you after this the demo how we use the or 1 equal to 1 uh, to some SQL injection demo. Okay, it means that every entry in the table will return the positive result. Under this condition, the query will log into the first account it finds, which is most database is a user with admin privilege. There are many ways to prevent from the SQL injection. Uh, we can use prepare statement with the parameterized query, which means when a developer use parameterized query, they must define all the SQL code and then pass in each parameter. As a result, an attacker cannot change the intent of the query later. We also can use allow list input validation. In certain location, developer can define an expected value, such as the allowed name of the table or column. This validation prevent unvalidated user input from being added to a query. Okay, we can use store procedures. When developer use the store procedure, they build SQL statement with the parameter that are stored in the database and call from the application. This technique is an alternative to using prepare statement and is similar effective against SQL injection attack. We also can use escape user input before putting it in a query. This technique escape all user supply input so that the input is not confused with SQL code from developer. Okay, so now I want to show you some demo how SQL injection work. Okay, we try with this website. Now we try to log in. Okay, we put the username and the password. We try just 12345 and we enter the login. Okay, sorry, login failed. We are sorry, but the username and password was not found in our system. Please try again later. What we know when we put the username and password, the query do like this. The username admin that we put here and the password 12345. Okay, the login failed because the statement was false because we don't know the password and the username. Okay, now I show you how the SQL injection work. Like I present earlier, in the username, put the username admin, put this or 1 equal to 1, and the password we just like the same 125. Now we click login. Okay, we can go to the uh, website. So what I want to tell here, when we put the code username admin and the password 1345, the segment be false. Be false and we cannot allow to go login. So when we do some injection SQL here, like this code, the false statement now become the true statement. So we can log in. Okay, now I want to sign off from the website. I want to log in again with a different trick with SQL injection. Okay, we click the button login again. Okay, now we use the same password and we put this and this symbol. The password just like the same 1 2 4 5 and in. Also, we can log in to the website with this password. Okay, what we do here, when we put the symbol, the query to be like this. When the symbol put here, after the symbol, uh, we declare like a comment. So whatever password is not valid anymore. So we can go through to the login process. Okay, that's all from me. Now for proceed the presentation, I pass to my friend with the cross-site scripting SS, Mr. Ikmar.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nazwan. So I will start talking about cross-site scripting. So what is cross-site scripting? Cross-site scripting is one of the type of injection attacks in which malicious JavaScript are injected into trusted website and will allow it to execute. Cross-site scripting attack has two types. One is when data enters a web application through an untrusted source. Second, data is sent to a web user without being validated for malicious content. For cross-site scripting attacks, there's a different types of attacks. One is store attack. Second, reflected attacks and DOM-based attack. So what is this? For store attack, it injected script is permanently stored on the target servers. For example, forum database. For reflected attacks, injected script is reflected of the web server. For example, the error message display on the web server. For DOM-based attack, it's a malicious script that are targeting client-side code. Which are more focused on client-side rather than server-side. So next, we focus on how it works. So there's a two stage for cross-site scripting attack. To run malicious JavaScript code in a victim browser, attacker must first find a way to inject malicious code with payload into web page that victim visit. So step one, the vulnerable website need to directly include user input in the page. An attacker can then insert a malicious string that will be used within website and treated as source code by the victim's browser. So after that, the victim must visit the web page with the malicious code. If the attack is directed at particular victims, then the attacker can use social engineering or maybe phishing to send malicious URL to the victim. So, how to prevent cross-site scripting? To prevent the cross-site scripting, for some case, it's much harder depending on the complexity of the application and the way it handles user controllable data. In general, effective preventing cross-site scripting vulnerability is likely to involve a combination of following measure. So we have four types of the measure. Filter input on arrival. At a point where user input is received, filter is strictly as possible based on what is expected or valid input. Then we go to the next, encode data on output. At that point, where user controllable data is output in HTTP responses, encode the output to prevent it from being interpreted as active content. Depending on the output context, this might require the information of HTML, URL, JavaScript, and CSS encoding. Then we use the third method, use separate response headers to prevent cross-site scripting in HTTP responses that aren't intended to contain any HTML or JavaScript. You can use the content type and also its content type option header to ensure that browsers can interpret the response in the way you intend. And lastly, content security policy is one of the critical part as a line of last defense. You can use content security policy to reduce severity of any cross-site scripting vulnerabilities that still occur. So now we will move to the demo on how cross-site scripting works. Thank you. Okay, now this is the cross-site scripting demo. I will show you how it is done. We open the console of the DVWA. I need to access the IP first. Turn on the username and password. And then we set to the lowest security. As I mentioned earlier, the cross-site scripting have three types: DOM, reflected, and stock. Now I'm focused on DOM. So this is the page. As you can see here, the address is fine. Now what we need to do is we choose the language. This is English and select. So by default, it will appear English here. What if I change the name of English to another word? For example, Kodak. And you can see it's been changed. Wonderful. To be more precise, we go to inspection. From here, right click and press Q. And on this side, if we can see in this column, select name default and the script. So this script will mention on how it works to about the malicious code. There's a string here mentioned here that indicate it will be injected for the malicious code. Okay, to be more precise, let's have a test on the address. Now I will set the script to make the execution well. then press enter. So you go, you have been hacked. So the mission is completed. Thank you and goodbye. This is all from my team.